Is perhaps the most interesting congressional race in all of California, the open seat for the redrawn California Congressional District 3, featuring Democrat Dr. Kermit Jones and Republican Assemblymember Kevin Kiley. Thanks for sticking with us tonight on Fox 40 News. I'm Eric Rucker.
And I'm Nikki Lorenzo. So that redrawn district is the largest congressional district by land area in the state, extending from Chester in Plumas County to the north all the way south to Death Valley. However, many of the voters in that district, they're in Placer County. So over the next 2 days, we will introduce you to both of these candidates. We're going to start tonight with Assemblymember Kevin Kiley. Here's some background. He's a Republican who was one of the challengers running in the recall last year. He is one of the congressional candidates in the state to earn the endorsement of former President Trump. So here is part one of my extended interview with Assemblymember Kevin Kiley. Okay, so we are sort of entering the home stretch here. Voters are they have their guides, their ballots are arriving in the mail. So as we approach Election Day, how do you feel about this race?
Well, I feel very good about the race, but I feel very concerned about the state of our state and of our country right now, because we have simply been moving in the wrong direction for a long time. People are really struggling right now with just out of control inflation, rising grocery prices, rising gas prices, yet again, reaching levels that we would never have imagined. And on top of all of that, we have an unprecedented level of activity at our border because of the policies of this current administration. We have rising crime rates because of the agenda to liberalize criminal laws and defund the police. And so we really need a new direction. And so I'm concerned, but at the same time, I do see an opportunity for change in this election. And I think that voters have been responding incredibly well to our message that I want to go to Washington, D.C. and be an agent of change, to get our country moving in the right direction, and most importantly, to protect the quality of life of our region, of our communities that, that I grew up in. This has always been my home. I was born and raised here. I went to our local public schools, and I want to continue to ensure that that kids growing up in our area today continue to have the same opportunities that I did.
All right, so let's talk about the district a little bit, because we have seen things, obviously because of redistricting, lines are new, we have new candidates. Tom McClintock, who longtime Republican, represented District 3, hopped out to run in a different one. So there's no incumbent. And it's massive. It's the largest district in the state of California. Lassen National Park all the way down to Death Valley. You have some suburbs where you grew up. I mean, what makes you qualified to represent this vast area? Because you have suburbs, but also a lot of rural areas.
That's right. Well, I would say, number one, in terms of the district and sort of the areas that we're in right now, this is the place where I was born and raised. I know these communities, like the back of my hand. I know what makes them tick. I know why it is that this is an area that has maintained a very high quality of life in spite of what I believe to be misgovernance at the state and now the federal level. And so I know exactly how to make sure that misguided policies are not imposed on us that are going to threaten that quality of life. But I also understand the vast diversity of the state of California. I've been working to bring change at the state level in California for the last several years, and I understand the diversity of this state, the needs of our urban areas, our suburban areas, and our rural areas, and the many different types of communities that we have. And so this district, is really an amazing district. It covers 10 different counties. It stretches hundreds of miles. It's about the size of West Virginia. It includes both Tahoe and Death Valley. And so I am really excited to represent a district that really encompasses what's so great about California. And I look forward to, being its representative and fighting to make sure that, this area continues to have a high quality of life, and frankly, that the state of California doesn't see its quality of life continue to decline, because we have a lot of problems in this state. We see people leaving California in record numbers, and a lot of the reasons for that, like the high cost of living, those same problems are now being experienced on a nationwide scale. And so having been fighting against these policies here in California, I think that's pretty good preparation to go to DC and make sure that the same problems don't lower the quality of life across our country.
But fighting in the legislature as a Republican in California, you're swimming upstream constantly. Can you give me something specific where you said you've been fighting against these issues that you call them in the state of California of affordability and high crime, where you've seen some success?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I have gotten actually a number of bills signed into law, working in a bipartisan way with the Democrat co-authors on issues like public safety, on issues like education, on issues like freedom of speech. Not easy to do.
Yeah.
As
So
part
give
of
me
the
one
superminority.
specific, just one specific that you're the most proud of.
Oh gosh, well I could go through all of the bills that I've passed one at a time. Like one bill that made it, provided greater protections for victims of sexual assault. Another piece of legislation that protected freedom of speech on college campuses. Another piece of legislation that protected our kids at school from predators being able to, be in the classroom and abuse children. So these are all pieces of legislation that I've passed. I've also had a pretty significant hand in stopping a lot of bad legislation and holding people accountable when we have corrupt officials, making sure that they're held accountable, which is maybe the most important part of your job. But I'd say that in a broader sense, what we've managed to do, working with folks throughout our communities, community leaders in local government, in the business community, in the faith community, is to make sure that our areas here remains a great place to live, to work, to raise a family, and to retire. And so while California has had a very anti-business set of policies, we've actually promoted a culture here in our area that supports small business. Or while in the last couple years, California had the strictest lockdowns and the most onerous mandates of any state in the entire country, in our area we tried to chart a different course, and as a result, our kids were back in school, the earliest of any place in the entire state of California. Our unemployment rate was about half the rest of the states, and our COVID-19 outcomes were far better than the state as a whole. So I'm very proud of the culture that we've built in the counties that form this district that I intend to try to continue in my work as a member of Congress.
Okay, so on the issues that drive voters this time around, I want to sort of tick through some of the things that Republicans at the national level are asked. So Donald Trump has supported you, endorsed you. Would you support him if he ran for president again? Do you think he should run for president again?
Well, that's of course not my focus right now.
Yeah.
I'm focused on winning this
But
race.
that's something as a Republican, every Republican's asked, just like on the Democratic side. I asked your opponent if he thinks that the issues he has with Joe Biden, if he should run again.
Sure.
So is that something that, he endorsed you, would you return the favor and endorse him to run for president?
Well, I'm
again?
very fortunate to have hundreds of people who have endorsed my campaign. And they do so as, a vote of confidence for whatever reason. And by the way, there's a great deal of diversity among those who have endorsed my campaign. You have people who are Democrats who have endorsed my campaign because they've seen the type of leadership I provided here at the local level. So no, I'm focused on the 2022 election. We can save 2024 for another day.
Okay, so let's talk about abortion. Again, driving voters to the polls this election cycle. The Dobbs decision did really upend things, and it was looking like it was going to be, a win for Republicans in November. Now polling, and I know the only polling that matters is the one on Election Day. What's your stance on a woman's right to choose?
Well, I'm running for federal office, and I believe that this is a state issue. California law right now says that there is legal abortion up to the point of fetal viability. That is not going to change. My opponent actually is the one in this race who wants to radically change current California law on the subject and potentially legalize things and in fact encourage them up until the point of birth. But that falls way outside the mainstream of where the public is on this issue. So any suggestion from my opponent that somehow I would have a hand in changing what the law is right now at the state level is completely wrong.
Coming up next, we continue our conversation with Congressional District 3 candidate Kevin Kiley, including a look into what he believes most people don't know about him. Part 2 of our interview is next.